Come on there, Mayor.
I
Get
know,
on.
I tell you, it's been quite the month. I'll call the regular city council meeting for Tuesday, July 12th to order, stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call. Hayes?
Yep.
Collins?
Yeah.
Wilson is not here. Keller?
Yes.
And Simpson's not here. Approval of the tentative agenda. With this juncture. Have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, move on to public comments.
Yes, if people are tearing the sidewalks out, are they gonna replace them? It's in the ordinance, they have to replace them.
Well, how far back you wanna go with that?
As far as the ordinance needs to
I
go,
mean, how far back in time?
as far as it needs to.
Well, you better make a list,
No, that's not my job.
because
That's your
it
job.
goes back a long ways,
Yeah,
yeah,
and there people have been tearing them out and they have to replace
yeah,
them. I know we had to replace ours because it was cracked.
yeah. Yeah,
You gonna replace yours, Tom?
possibly,
Not a yes or a no answer on that?
no, it's not a yes or a no. I mean, I'll replace mine when the ones before me replace theirs.
Well, that's your job too, just like I'm.
I'm not, it's not a dictatorship
No,
there, you
no,
know?
it's not.
You know, if the council decides
It's a
that,
city ordinance.
yeah, that's
No
all good.
dictatorship to it.
Yeah, that's all
City
good.
ordinance.
Yeah, that's all good. I agree.
Are you, as a city council member, going to ignore that?
If the council says it has to be replaced, I'll replace it.
Then you're all going to violate the ordinance.
Well, if that's the case, then there's a lot of violations in town.
Well,
That's all I'm
there is,
saying,
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you.
you know. That's
there's
all.
some properties
And if
I
it's
never
more of a
remember
hazard
sidewalks
being
even
there, then
being
it
on
probably should have
either, so what do you
been
do
replaced
there?
way before me.
If they didn't tear it up, then they
So
probably
that's all.
replaced something that wasn't
But the
there.
people was tearing them out, or tearing them out so they don't have to shovel their sidewalk.
Oh, I never shoveled mine anyway.
Yeah, well,
There you
there's
go.
another violation of city ordinance.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
But if they're not using it and they're walking across my yard, you know,
The ordinance still stands.
Why are we walking in the streets when we don't have to?
I can't control that. I mean,
No, but if you don't have a sidewalk, they gotta walk in the street.
they walked on the street before, around my house.
Well, I'm just trying to see that these city ordinance that we have so many of them,
Yeah,
that they're being enforced.
yeah.
And
Well,
they're not.
that'd be a long list.
Well,
well,
long list for you guys to take care of.
Well, come and join us, help us out.
It's not my job.
Yeah,
You're the
I know, that's the problem. Nobody wants to take the job on.
No, that's not the problem. The problem is, you don't wanna follow the ordinance.
No, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, well, I am.
Okay, that's
I'll
all.
be until you put your sidewalk back in.
Okay, we'll just keep coming back.
How about these old houses that ain't been tore down or dismantled or whatever the hell? I got one to the east of me and I got one to the south of me. Haven't done
And
anything to them yet.
I have followed up, I have contacted 3 people on these properties, and one said, I was informed maybe possibly September before they can get to it, and I said, we're not gonna keep waiting. And I checked on, did some follow-up on one down here, and I'm waiting to hear back what he's thinking. I said it either has to come down or something, and so I'm waiting for a reply back from him. And there was one other one, I can't think. But it's not like they've been forgotten, Jim. I have, and you know,
I mean, I
sometimes
see
you
all
get to
kinds of
running in.
animals are coming out of these buildings. I mean, it's unreal, and my neighbors gotta shoot them to keep up with killing them animals. Coons, possums, gophers, I mean, they're everywhere.
Right. I have been following up on the letters, and I understand people get busy, you know, and things don't work out exactly the way they want them to, but it's not been pushed under the table. When you start playing chase this person around, that person around, trying to get hooked up with people, sometimes you can tie up a lot of time doing that.
Another complaint I got is the roads. I got a pothole in front of my place that's deep enough to almost lose your tires, but nothing gets done with these roads.
Took a long time to do that, but I sausage.
Do you want to,
What's the deal with the roads? They ain't fixing them. I mean, they ain't even mowing the weeds out along the roads.
we're
Weeds
having,
are-
having a tractor issue right now.
We just got a new tractor.
Or a UV tractor.
Oh, big one, the big.
Maybe Nathan would know. Alan has been busy. It's what, shooting out hydraulic fluid, Troy?
I'm like, yeah, oh.
No, it's
And-
shooting out of it. There's a net up there, looks like it has a screen on it. And when I went to lift it up, the hydraulic fluid just shot up and out. So I tried
And-
calling Alan right away and left him 2 messages and.
And I just even talked to Alan before I came up here. He's been busy. He hasn't had time to look at it. So right.
Here we go.
He said he could probably figure it out.
Cindy,
If you want to take a look at it, because Alan is really busy.
what about this guy down the shed?
What about it?
Did you see that truck that he had parked there?
Yep, it was there today.
It was there
And the
yesterday.
sheriff drove right past it.
Well, they don't want to do nothing about the sidewalk, people park across the sidewalk. So I already discussed that with the sheriff's department, and they told me not to open that can of worms.
That's what they tell you.
Yes, they did, right here.
It's time to start opening those cans.
Yeah.
Well, with down there, that is a visibility hazard. The other day, he had a huge one parked on there, and I was clear out into the middle of the highway to try and see if anything
It
was
was still there
coming.
today,
Now, this was, it was not in pieces, it was
a
huge.
full truck. And what about that one that's been sitting there for teenagers on the west side that don't have a motor in it?
Yeah, they're parking it out. Better chunky or bigger.
I just hope that bridge don't ever give out.
Actually, wouldn't that be considered the city? It's on city
It's
easement.
city property.
I would think it would, but I don't know.
Because then, if that bridge would happen to collapse, knowing the way he respects the city ordinances, they would come back and sue the shit out of the city.
I probably ought to just bite my tongue, but it would be nice to know some of these concerns prior to a council meeting. At least you have
Cindy,
some,
we've talked to you about this before,
that,
about him parking on that.
that's been an ongoing thing for years.
Why?
See,
Can't
that's
you
one of the
find
reasons
somebody?
Well, we'll just have to have the sheriff serve him because he will not pick up letters.
That's why I said something to the sheriff about parking across the sidewalk. Because he's always got something parked down there. And that's when the sheriff informed me not to open that can of worms.
That's because if you go after one person for a vehicle over the sidewalk, you're on everybody.
Yep. That's the
Well-
idea. It's an ordinance.
This is a visibility hazard down here, and somebody's gonna get hit,
Uh-huh.
so
And
we'll
then who's
work on
gonna
that,
be
Lacey.
responsible for it?
I would think they would have to be, especially since they've been told. And he just keeps doing it. I mean, you can't argue with
You will,
him.
it's let him keep doing it.
So I will get on it.
Well, from what I understand, you've sent letters to him and he won't.
They have even contacted Stone.
Yeah, maybe that's where you need to go. Possibly have a, well, get a hold of your lawyer and have him writing a letter that, and if it don't help, then every time it's parked across the road, it's not sure.
Back to, tough to get anybody in here to do small jobs. So, I don't know, can we get some cold patch and at least get something in some of the potholes until we get,
Yeah.
the one thing you run into is if it's just a small little thing here, a small little thing here, a small little thing here. If there's an asphalt company over here, they don't have that much of a problem popping in and whipping them out, but, you know, they like the bigger projects.
Well, in order to do that, we'd have to have a list for,
Right.
okay, we got this one at this address, you know, if we had a half a dozen or a dozen different spots, you know. Somebody went up there and did that one on Fourth Street and went down the hill by us.
The county had some left over when they were working, doing culverts.
Did they do
Do
that?
we have any extra down here they dumped? Extra asphalt they dumped off that we could put it in there?
And I'm not sure
There's
what part of,
grindings down there, that's all.
That's down at the burn there.
Yeah.
Grinding.
Yeah.
You can dig those up if you wanted to now. They're as hard as concrete.
and it may be such a thing that could have been so-called done by Heart of Iowa because they're the ones that damaged that
Yeah,
road.
yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then Perry Street going to Main Street can get redone too, because Perry Street between Main Street and Third Street is pretty well shot from trucks coming out of a,
I know,
so,
that's just it. You do it and then it gets tore right back up.
Main and Third, or Center and Third, wherever it is, on Perry, west of the church.
I know, what we have to do.
That bridge is
That's for,
Right there by Floyd.
down there by San Luis.
Oh.
They come across that bridge, so big semis do and trucks with loads on it. Yeah, they-
that in front of the post office is terrible too.
Yeah,
Everybody
that's
knows that.
really bad.
Try riding a scooter down it.
That needs to be cut clear out and redone. It's the only way you're gonna fix that.
Yeah,
So I don't even know who's on my roads.
yeah, that's really bad over
Yeah.
there.
And Gunderson's don't help with that, that's beside the point. They got the right drivers. That's right.
So we do have time sometime and we can run around and,
Yeah, it won't be this week.
Or-
It's gonna be your first report.
no, I've got a full plate,
I
that's
don't
a.
see the letter.
Last 3 years.
Unless it falls underneath capital improvements. And that would be me and Mindy, you and you.
How many people are paying them for?
and Carrie. Check finances, see.
Before we get off residents' concerns, if we're still on it, I'm curious on how your conversation went with 402 Second Street about the dog in the easement. Lisa's dog.
She said it doesn't reach out to the road.
Okay, that's fine, but it's still in between the sidewalk and the road, which is city property, and it's about this far from the road. And it was there this morning, I drove by and checked, I guess I should take a picture every day I go by there and start a log.
Yep,
Why does
There
the
you
dog
go.
not be out by the road anyway?
it's back a ways
Why
from
the
the
hell can't
road,
you tie
but
it
they've
up
got
in the
it, other places in town, same situation.
I'm on almost every road in this town, and that's the only place where that is that close to the road with that style of, with a dog that comes out and hits that chain as hard as it can, along with their other one that hits its chain, but I can't do nothing about that because that's on her property. I'm not complaining about the one on her property. I'm complaining about the one on city property.
Got a hammer?
Is that what I'm being told by the city council to do? Because that's what I'll do tonight when I go on my walk, and it's
No, you won't.
a lot of misdirection here on that.
Well, if the dog can reach across the sidewalk, and I know this from experience from my son being bit,
Walking the sidewalk.
if it can reach across the sidewalk, it's considered an attractive nuisance. And that came from a lawyer.
I just want to know where the conversation went from the last time I was up here, if the conversation was even had, or they just asked. if the
I
dog
did
was-
go talk to her. I spoke to her about her chickens, which the chickens that were running all over were not hers. They were across the street. We have umpteen dogs running loose right now.
Dogs
We have dogs where people are going on walks, dogs are not on leashes.
Yep, mine's one of them. Who has a controlled radio collar on her all the time.
So,
I talked to Lisa, and I drove by there, and I haven't seen that dog, but that doesn't mean
I'll take
anything.
pictures of it and I'll be
I'd
back
like to
next
see
month with every day of the week that I find the dog on
That would
the
be
city
awesome.
easement. I'm not talking about a dog that comes up and wags its tail at you when you walk by it. I'm talking about a dog that hits its chain as hard as it absolutely can.
I understand that. I'm not arguing you with
No,
you
I'm
about
not. I'm
that.
just saying the facts on how they lie. And I was just wanting to know what the follow-up to the conversation was. If she was asked to move the dog and she refused to move the dog? Or was she just said that there was a complaint made and that's all the farther it went? Because if she was asked to
I
move the dog,
discussed it with her, that there was an issue that it shouldn't be able to go across the sidewalk.
so she was asked to move the dog then.
Basically to move it back some, but I will go talk to her again. Any other public comments?
You've done it
And see,
all.
you think I'm doing absolutely nothing, don't you? Do you know how my list keeps getting
I
like
watch you drive
this?
around in the evening, so I know you're looking.
Oh, yeah.
On your drives, have you
What?
seen it?
What?
The dog? Because I know you're
It's
out as
been
much
in
as I
quite a
am.
bit. It hasn't even been out.
I'm just curious if you see the same thing I see. That's all I'm asking. Because you're out just as much as I am, Cindy. And I'm not illusioning it. I'm not having
The dog
hallucinations
doesn't
of it.
come darting.
I don't go down there and visit with her either, so I don't know the dog.
Well, I don't
Picture of the
either.
damn thing, yeah.
But you're not walking either, you're driving. You're walking, that's a difference. But the dog dark.
That or him and his little girl was
So-
buying a scooter.
And that's my problem too, because I just drive by. So
Yeah.
I can walk by and see if that dog, I mean. if it
I'm not
comes
saying
after
nothing's
me-
being done, I'm just following up with the issue. That's all I'm doing. Simple as that.
He's just checking to see what happened.
It's nothing personal to anybody in this room, it's just something that I wanted to back follow to see if There was a conversation had, that's it, simple as that, black and white.
I followed up on what I said I would do. I have had 10,000 other things I've been dealing with, and some things take a big priority. It's just, I'm one person, Junior.
Fair enough, there's 5 others that sat at this table too, Cindy.
Did you follow up on that letter for our neighbor behind us?
I'm going to personally speak with him.
Okay.
I don't know when he works, I haven't seen him out there,
I think he must have been on vacation last week.
so that's where that is. I will speak to him. I'm not gonna go knocking on the door. Well, I don't even know when he's home, but usually he's sitting outside if he's home, and I will go speak to him. I've been trying to do more going and talking to people over sending letters, because 9 times out of 10, letters aren't getting us anywhere. It's a waste of paper, it's a waste of postage, it's a waste of Lacey's time.
Note on the letters, part of our sheriff's contract is they will serve people in town.
But when the people still ignore the letters.
Right, but if they won't accept the letters.
Sometimes, and I've gotten pretty good response on people I've had to go, and I just literally talked to them, told them what the issue was, and they took care of it. And that's how I'm trying to handle it. There's some people that know I will not
Yeah.
go to the door.
My experience was when the sheriff serves the letter, it has a lot more effect than when you get from the post office. They know you're a little more serious at that point.
So,
You know, you're not playing games anymore.
It doesn't always work, but it's,
Start.
It's worth a try.
and it doesn't cost the city anything, it's cheaper than the state.
so, any other public comments?
I was gonna ask you about the swimming pool, how come it never opened?
Because the lines aren't good. It leaks water.
Because the Bangor Church went clear to Eldora the other night to have their kids fundraiser, whatever they had. I was just
Lines
kinda
have to get
curious.
tested before we can even start filling it up.
So it's gonna.
Well, hell, summer will be over.
Yep.
Yep.
I thought that
So why
was
don't they get
supposed to
rid
be
of
up there.
I
Let's
say
get rid of it.
Put it on the market.
That's what this testing will decide. So,
I thought he was supposed to come and do that.
he is,
So it's gonna remain closed
until the testing gets done Thursday, and then we'll know exactly what's going on.
okay.
But it will not
Kind of a
open this
bummer.
year. No.
Nope.
It's a dead horse in the water,
Is it on the ballot this year?
should be.
I think it should be.
I didn't know if that was still standing from
I
last
don't
year.
know if that carries over or not, if that,
Well, you'd have to redo it, I'm sure.
yeah,
It's probably too late now.
No,
Are we still?
should
to
be.
get it on for November.
November, no. I think it's
Close.
September. I still tell you, sell the property and,
Do we
That's
own, do
fine.
we own the tennis court too,
No.
the city? No,
Uh,
the golf club, golf course owns it?
That's what I've been told, yes.
Oh,
and if you look it up on Beacon, that's what it
because I
looks
noticed
like.
for a long time, the city used to park tractors and trucks and stuff on it, and the weeds would grow up and it was a mess. I was just curious, well, who owns the golf or tennis court now?
Been told the golf course does. And been told that's what they're gonna kind of do with it, is park their equipment there. I don't know. We'll see.
That one's back.
But it's
It's
there.
sitting in the case of the golf course.
Well, I guess
That's the way they've got the pool.
let's give the pool back to the golf course.
They don't want that.
We're gonna have an election to do that.
We're selling it to Mindy.
That's when they make elections.
Move on.
Any other public comments? Okay, public hearing, vacating the alleyways. We need to set a date, right?
No.
Oh, no, that's, okay.
This is the public hearing for that. There's no comments. There's not anything.
And this is for Nathan's alleyway.
Nathan and Cheryl.
Any public comments? Okay. we'll close that public hearing. Approval of June city council and library minutes and claims paid. Have a second?
A second.
Do a roll call. Bates?
Yes.
Collins?
Yeah.
Wilson is absent. Keller?
Yes.
Simpson is absent. Clerk report. Any questions on the clerk report? Okay, sheriff's report is in your packet.
Very good.
Yeah. I have him on speed dial.
That's a lot.
Rhonda's report is in your packet. The mayor's report, cleanup day and park work day went very, very well. The football boys,
Awesome.
we had so many volunteers show up, plus them, that we swiped some of the boys and went and cleaned out the storm drain. We were having some issues with some of them and cleaned up along the side of the road, and they were having a blast. And anytime I pick up a shovel, they say, no ma'am, we can do this. So,
Well-respected young men.
Yes.
so, it was an amazing turnout. It was great.
Did an awesome job on the park.
The park looks very nice. I think
Yeah, they
they
did a
have
good
some,
job.
they have some money left yet and are trying to kind of decide whether to look for another piece of equipment, put up security cameras, you know.
My vote is security cameras.
And we've had a request for a shorter basketball
Yep.
hoop for the shorter kids, so
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything from them as to exactly what they're looking at, but those were some of the
Didn't
ideas.
those used to crank down?
That's what I was thinking.
Till
Them are
people
brand
kept
new
breaking them,
posts, Huh?
till people kept breaking them.
What's gonna change it? If you make one shorter,
No,
they're gonna
just for
break
the
it
little
too.
kids.
huh?
Just
Yeah,
one
but
short
they're
one.
okay.
Just
Oh.
one short one.
So it'd be permanently short.
So, yeah, they get pretty destructive up there sometimes. The creek, Tom and I met with the county engineer, and we went and looked at the creek. The county is not allowed to assist us. So that's kind of at a standstill. He did give us a number to contact the DNR, see if we needed to do anything.
Email from him.
Yeah, he put in a request with the DNR. The DNR has there's two entities of the DNR that has to clear it to work. One did, we're still waiting on the other, and still waiting on the Corps of Engineers.
So we've done the application, got it sent out.
Hardin County Engineer did, yeah.
Perfect.
And I have to say, with the heavy rains we've had, especially these last two big storms, it's actually been moving pretty good. Surprisingly, I don't know how, but it has. Also, we have some water coming into City Hall. We aren't real sure, but think it might be a roof problem. So I will be lining up a ladder, I suppose, and climbing up there to look along the edge, because it seems like it's along the edge up there. And the door back here, you can see daylight all around the door. That was drenched back there. So probably need to do a little revamping around that door. The tractor, Alan hasn't had time to look at it, and I guess if you want to take a peek at it, where these weeds get way over my head. So I think that's all I had. Committee report, Troy was to be on the agenda, and
I forgot.
he forgot, so he's not really important either, but. So Troy, if you wanna,
No comment.
Thanks, Amy. Oh, thinking it happened when I was over at the park, hitting the pea, when I was weed eating, the pea rocks, had one hit the camera on my phone and cracked the screen on the back of it.
That's your fault. You
So-
did take a little crack.
Yeah. So, I think it's like $100 to replace the phone. I paid almost $1,100 for it.
Is that city equipment?
Yeah, it is when I'm doing city work. If I get a phone call. Just like the fire department, if I'm on call and something happens to it on call, it goes under the insurance.
So insurance will cover it if insurance won't cover it if
You gotta pay like $100 to get, it's that deductible thing they got.
Yeah.
so you're asking the council,
If they would be willing to do that.
He needs his phone.
How much is it?
I think it was like $100. I gotta double check with the insurance company again. I
That's
called
the
them once.
deductible on the insurance?
Yeah, and then they send you a new phone, then I take it in and they take the SD card out and put it in the new one.
Well, at least you get to use the insurance.
I didn't want to.
I know, I've paid for insurance on phones, and never,
It's not fun.
so it's up to you guys what you wanna do here. Can you not wear it when you're in the park?
I was gonna say, what do we do to keep it from happening
I
again?
can leave it on the mower while I'm weed eating.
Or buy a case,
I got a case.
and it still went through. Oh, all right. Okay, I'm not a case.
Oh, no, I'd have those. When I used to do it, I used to stick it in my back pocket. I never had any issues then. No, in the case yet, in my back pocket when I got back on the mower, then I took it out of my pocket because I knew it was there.
What would you folks like to do?
I make a motion that we pay to get his phone fixed. He's got insurance on it with $100 deductible. And the work he's doing, it's for the city, so.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carried. And another thing, he did mention, we had the P-rock all over. We need to get some Roundup or something and spray in there.
Yeah,
You
it's-
can't run a mower over those.
It's terrible. The weeds are terrible. And the marijuana plant too that I cut down, that was probably about 3 foot tall.
You got those in your yard too, huh?
No, that was at the park.
At the park?
Yeah, I have them at my house too.
Okay, is there any other committee,
We do too.
Want to come and visit me?
No.
any other committee reports? Okay. Consider for approval, Resolution 22-11, resolution directing the clerk to publish notice of hearing on the adoption of the proposed code of ordinances of the city of Union, Iowa.
So all this is just setting a public hearing date and time to accept if there's any residents that want to come over, look at the updated ordinance, the most current one that we just had Summering and Corey do, then they can come to the public hearing, express their concerns, or if they don't have any, then we can move forward with accepting the new code book.
And this is things that have been done over the years, and the last time these books were done was like 2009. So it was time, a long
So
time
this-
ago to
These-
just bring them up to date.
Yeah, the new books have all the ordinances clear up to present in it.
That has
So,
been passed.
Yeah, so this is just a resolution setting the public hearing date for that.
Well, I'll make a motion that we set a date for the public hearing.
We have it in here,
We have
the next meeting, next regular meeting.
We just need to publish it.
Yeah. At a certain time frame, I have to publish it and everything.
Okay, have a motion, do I second?
I'll second.
Roll call, Bays,
Yes.
Collins,
Yeah.
Wilson is absent, Keller,
Yes.
Simpson is absent. Motion carried. Consider for approval Resolution 22-12, a resolution closing and vacating the alley, approving the transfer of the vacated alley, and authorizing execution of deed. This would be what we discussed last month on, for Nathan and Cheryl.
I motion we approve.
Roll call, Bays, Collins,
Yeah.
Wilson is absent, Keller,
Yeah.
Simpson is absent. Ah, okay, discussion and action on ICAP grant. Came across a grant that Lacey talked to me about. With ICAP, it's $1,000 grant, And we were looking at the different things that money could be used for. And in my many travels up and down the streets, we have some really bad stop signs that need replaced. And that is one of the things on this grant. The other thing is, it goes into all different things, but the main thing that we need to do something with these signs. Some of the stop signs are like white, and if somebody sails through and gets broadsided, you know,
Well, first they gotta stop, Cindy.
well, I know, but
And that one by Corey's, they run it all the
I
time.
know, Rita, it's just, I can't,
That would actually need to be a post, you know, one, it would bust it off.
That'd be a cluster.
Yeah.
the one by
One would be
Dave's,
down the north corner of,
Dave's,
be the northwest corner of that one.
I know they had to repair a one down there on that little bridge because somebody chopped it.
oh, down here.
Yeah. There's a lot of little bridges in there.
I'm just glad I live right there though.
So, if you've all had a chance to look at it, unless you see something you think you'd rather see done, I guess my concern is signs need to be replaced.
Have we applied for this?
No, no, she just got this, what, one day last week, wasn't it?
Thursday.
And on the application, do we have to put on that application what,
We have to have an invoice or a bill of sale,
well, we have to spend the money first,
yes,
and then they'll reimburse us.
$1,000.
And she did look up on the prison industries where we've gotten a lot of our signs. And the basic one we would need, the minimal one, is $36.50 a sign.
How many signs do we need?
That, I have to go around and start counting every one of them. But there's some of them that are just straight
I
white
just wondered if you
already.
had an approximate number.
I need to, and I mentioned it, if he would find, if he has time, otherwise I can find somebody else. Because it's hard to drive and look and write, and it's a lot for one person to do. That's why, yeah. So, that we can get, you know, several signs. I don't know what other signs there might be.
I know we need no parking signs for the ordinance that we passed up by Steel Smith on Barclay there. Those have not been ordered and needed to.
So,
So I mean, we
I,
could easily spend $1,000 just on street signs.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it spent, they store it.
Yeah.
Get some extra on, use $1,000.
Exactly, yeah, they won't go bad.
Suggestion.
The other thing, I don't know if from that prison industry, I couldn't find the thing to paint the wheelchair handicap thing for the,
I just found it the other day in
Did
the
you?
basement.
oh, it was here in the basement.
Mhm.
So we probably need to get that to the library or
Yeah.
if they can do it themselves and set it down over what they already got there.
Yeah.
Or we can do a work detail and go up there and do it maybe one day. Did you
At
let
least
them
I
know?
think that's what it is.
Okay, we should let them know we did find it, so they don't, if that's what it is, then that way they won't be,
A cardboard cutout in blue, so I'm assuming.
yeah. Okay, good.
so does that sound like a good deal, guys?
Yes.
So I will Maybe I can even get Lacey, she even likes to walk, so. Get a count. And I did question, I know there's a speed limit sign too, but it's on Main Street. And I asked Terry and he wasn't sure whether, means it's in city limits on Main Street, whether that's actually a county sign or if the city, there's those.
I'm gonna get the city's responsibility. I don't know, Terry might.
That's what I asked him, he wasn't sure, but he said he could ask. But I know that one's, there's one down there that's almost unreadable too. So, we can easily spend $1,000, no doubt about it. May end up going a little over, but
Well, if you need a motion, I would make a motion that we spend up to, use that grant money for signage, whether it be stop signs, speed limit signs, whatever we can compile, and then quote them. I guess that would be
Yeah,
my
because I
motion.
think if we have a quote, I can send that with the application, and they should accept that, so.
yeah,
Is there a deadline on that?
it didn't say on it.
Think so.
Do some bulletproof vests.
Yeah, you want to start serving some abatements if I can?
Yeah.
Let's see, no, it does not say when it's, it doesn't say when it's due, I know it's
You can
not
probably
due
load up
yet.
online.
Well, and it came in an email and it may say in that, but.
Mhm. Yeah, that would be my motion.
Okay, did you get that? Okay, have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, same sign? Okay. Somebody want to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?